In Sinhala and Hindu New Year, there's a concept called Aurudu Kumaraya. In Sri Lanka's case, this year, our Aurudu Kumaraya arrived way before Aurudu. That was none other than Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi arrived to Sri Lanka, and we signed 7 MOUs between the two countries. The first agreement was on energy, mainly electricity, connecting Sri Lanka and India. This is not an agreement, this is still a memorandum of understanding, MOU, to connect Sri Lanka's grid with India's grid through a HVDC cable. High voltage direct current connectivity is what HVDC stands for, and we are going to connect the grids, and we have spoken about it quite often. As you know, already CEB has informed to switch off the solar plants during the Aurudu season because we generate too much electricity. If we generate too much electricity, our grid can trip because there's no demand. But if we are connected to India, actually we can export that energy through this HVDC submarine cable. Again, it hasn't been laid out yet. It is just an agreement to take the conversation forward. That's the number one agreement. Second is a tripartite agreement that is between Sri Lanka, India and UAE. That is to develop Trincomalee as another energy hub, and we are going to connect Sri Lanka and India through a pipe to transport fossil fuel and then to work it around in Trincomalee for bunkering and even with a refinery as a distribution hub. So that's the second agreement. The third one is on digital transformation. There's a lot of public digital infrastructure which was done in India, and to have signed an MOU to exchange that know-how between Sri Lanka and India. That's number 3. Number 4 is, you may not know that most of the medicine that is being imported to Sri Lanka is from India, and we have signed an MOU between NMRA and the relative authorities in India on certification of medicine, because on certification, on importation, there has to be inter-institutional cooperation. That's the 4th agreement. The 5th one is between the Ministry of Health, that is to exchange know-how and institutional knowledge between the Indian health authorities and Sri Lanka's Ministry of Health. And the 6th one is quite controversial, that is the defense. And we were told there were no exclusive rights were given to India, but it is to share and train military between the two countries. As you know, Easter attack conversation is coming up, and even we had some intelligence information from the Indian authorities before the Easter attack. So this MOU is supposed to strengthen those exchanges and to move forward between India and Sri Lanka on the defense side. It doesn't mean that we have signed anything or the Indians are going to have some military bases here. Definitely that's not what it meant. It is basically to share the information and have the trainings, and continuation of it is what it was meant by this defense pact. Last but not least, the 7th MOU is to develop Sri Lanka's eastern province. India has committed Sri Lankan rupees 2.4 billion for selected 33 projects to be developed in the eastern province, and each project will not exceed 600 million Sri Lankan rupees. So those are the 7 main MOUs signed between Sri Lanka and India in connection with Prime Minister Modi's visit. As you know, we have been always saying that with new geopolitical order, India is one of our key markets, and it is said that there will be more than 300 million middle class sector which is growing in India. So in that case, it is very important that we integrate with the Indian market. However, it is also important that we do that integration based on competitive basis, because if we are not competitive and if you are leaving away from the competitive bidding processes, then we are inviting unnecessary questions and challenges on the geopolitical front. So it's important that we make sure that Sri Lanka gets the best deal, of course, through competitive nature of bidding, but it is also important that we have stronger ties between India and Sri Lanka, because they are our neighbor and they are our market. They have more than 1 billion people, and Sri Lanka can easily get benefit by trading with India. But as you all know, trade is always a two-way street. It's never a one-way street. So it's very important that we strengthen our ties with India. And already we are. Buddhism has come from India, and even if you look at pretty much everything from there to here has a deeper and a longer connection. If you like this video, please share and like. Also, we are available in Sinhala under Advocata Plus and in Tamil as Advocata Kural. So please subscribe us. At the same time, you can be a Patreon. Please be a Patreon and subscribe us. At the same time, you can buy our corporate subscription, which is for 1.5 million rupees, and there are multiple subscription layers which you can go and check at Advocata Institute website under support tab. We'll see you with another video next week. Till then, wishing you all the very best for the Sinhala and Hindu New Year.